Okay, so now we're going to talk about Module 2, Lesson 6. This is on this thing called the rectangular coordinate system. Just an introduction to that. This is a big picture view of what the rectangular coordinate system that we're going to use looks like for this class. Okay, we're going to use this for graphing, and I'll tell you right now that graphs are extremely useful tools in 2020 to make decisions. You know, just about every business in the world, every government agency, everybody that has to look at numbers, which, you know, if you're dealing with money, you got to look at numbers. They use graphs to, predict what's going to happen in the future and to analyze what's happened in the past. So, a really important part of how we use math in 2020 is getting comfortable with graphs. Very, very practical, real world focused thing. Okay, but let's talk about this and how it works. Okay, basically what this does is let's just kind of look at data and analyze it. So this is called a rectangular coordinate plane here. Okay, and there's some pieces that make it up here, like this one right here. This is called the x-axis that's running across horizontally here, this whole dark black line here. Up here, this is called the y-axis up here. Okay, and these axes break this graph up into four separate pieces. We call these quadrants. Up here, this one, in the upper right, we call quadrant 1. And then it kind of goes around counterclockwise from there. So quadrant 2 is over here. This is quadrant 3. We use Roman numerals to number these. And then finally down here in the bottom right, this is quadrant 4. Okay? So what we do with these things is we graph ordered pairs. And ordered pairs are going to look like this, with a parenthesis around them, and then they're going to have an x value in the front and a y value in the back. X comma y is the format of our ordered pair. So an example would be, these are just going to be numbers for us for right now. So like 1, 5 is an example of an ordered pair. Okay, and so the x value is going to tell us how far to go along the x-axis to get to the location of our point. So since in this example our x value is a 1, we're going to go 1 unit to the right. Don't mark yet though, because you're not done. You need to take both of your pieces, these are called coordinates, both of your coordinates into account before you're ready to mark. So my x value is 1, I'm going to go 1 to the right. My y value is 5. Now that's how far I'm going to go up or down. If it's positive, I'm going to go up. So 1 to the right, 5 up. And that is going to be where I'm going to mark that point. That's the point 1 and 5 on my rectangular coordinate plane here. Okay, so let's do a few more. So let's graph -3, 3. Okay, so remember, this is the x and this is the y that goes with it. And that's always going to be that order when we set up these ordered pairs like this. So my x is -3. So that's going to tell us how far to go left or right. In this case, it's negative, so we're going to go left. So left 3 units over to here. Don't mark yet, though, because you're not done. You got to take your y value into account as well. My y is positive, so I'm going to go up 3. Okay, so -3, 3 is going to be over here. If I'm thinking about which quadrant this point is in, remember this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So this point is in quadrant 2 since it's right up here. Okay, so we have something like -4 and -2. Okay, my x value is negative, so I'm going to go 4 to the left. Okay, don't mark yet because you're not done. You want to take your y value into account as well. -2 means down 2. We're going to be right down here in quadrant 3 for that point. Okay, what if we have something like 6, 0 for our point? Well, again, this is an x and this is a y. So my x value is 6, so I'm going to go 6 to the right over here. And then I'm not going to go up or down at all because my y value is 0. So we're going to be right on this line right here, which remember this is called the x-axis. So if we're asked to describe this point, like this one was in quadrant 2, this one is in quadrant 3, this one's not in a quadrant, this one we would say is on the x-axis instead. That's how we would describe that one. Okay, so one more. Okay, so if we're going to do 3 and -5, again we're starting from the beginning. Our x value is 3, we're going to go 3 to the right. Okay, and then our y value is 5, so we're going to go 5 down. Okay, right down here is going to be that point. And again, this is an example of a point that's in quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. This is in quadrant 4 since it's over there. Okay, so we could also ask you to take a point, like say I gave you this point right here. I might ask you to tell me what ordered pair goes with that point. So I'm going to start from my origin. I want to count left or right first for how to get to this point. So if I go from here, I go 1, 2, 3 to the left. That means my x value is -3. And then I go 4 units up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my y value is 4. So -3, 4 is the ordered pair that goes with that point. Okay. Say I do something like this down here. Important that you think about doing these things in the right order. We always do x comma y, right? We want to keep that in mind. X first, y second. So when we're doing the x, we want to think about how far right or left did we go to get to that point. And we didn't go right or left at all, did we? We just went down. So because we didn't go right or left at all, our x value has to be 0. Okay, and then we went down 2. So my y value has to be -2. Remember, up is positive, down is negative when we're doing y value. So since this one is down, we want to put a negative in there. Okay, so if they give you a point, asked to find the ordered pair that goes with it, you want to think of it along those lines. Okay. So the last big idea, and this is something we are going to do a ton of later in this course and going forward in future math classes as well, is we're going to give you a equation that has 2 variables in it, okay? And then we'll give you a table that looks like this, and then we're going to ask you to fill in some different points in this table for our equation that we're given, okay? So you'll notice that we have an x and a y in this equation, right? So these points that we're going to get, I didn't write them as ordered pairs, and we often won't in these things. We call this a t-table, okay? But I'm going to be making ordered pairs out of this. Like it tells me here that my x value is 0, right? So what I can do here is I can take that 0, plug it in for x in our equation up here, and make an equation that only has one variable in it. Right? And this is something we've been solving a lot all throughout this course, right? We just kind of work this out. 2 times 0 is 0. And then 0 minus 12 is -12. And so 0 and -12 is going to be one of my points in my t-table, and that gives me an ordered pair. I can always take this, since it's an x and a y value, remember ordered pairs are like x comma y form, so 0, -12 is going to be a point on our graph. I can do the same thing here, except for don't plug this in for x. It's not an x value. It's a y value instead, since it's in that second column. So we'll take this -4, we'll plug it over here. Okay, and then this we can solve for x. But this is an equation that we need to solve, and not quite as simple as it was up here. We need to go through our process that we've done throughout this module. We want to solve for x, get that x by itself. So no simplifying I can really do here. So our next step is to collect our like terms. So I want to move this 12 over to the other side. Okay, divide by 2. So my x is going to be 4. Okay, so that's my x value here, and that gives me another ordered pair based on that second row in my t-table. Okay, and then finally this 3 is an x value, so I do want to plug it in for x in my equation. Okay, work it out. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. Gives us, okay. And so we get 3 ordered pairs based on filling in that table. If I wanted to graph these points, I can. I actually have to go off the graph a little bit since the graph only goes to 12 here. So 0 and negative 12, my x value is 0. We don't go right or left at all. We go down 12 units down to here. 4 and negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right, since it's positive, negative 4 will be down here. And then finally 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right, and negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll notice that when I connect these up, those 3 points form a straight line. It's not a coincidence there. That's something that's going to happen every single time that we have a line that looks like this. We're going to spend a lot of time later in the course, and especially if you take a College Prep Math 3 class with us, we'll spend a ton of time on these graphs of lines that will always behave like this. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to get you off to a good start. Please let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything I can do to help.